3 episodes ago. Ruth found one slide that didn't belong. It cost her job, her name, and nearly her life. She exposed Mark. She survived the boardroom. She thought it was over. Then she learned the truth. Mark was only the hammer. The hand that swung him was John. The chairman. The man she trusted. Now there is only one move left. And one night to make it. The most dangerous alliance Ruth ever made, was with the man who tried to destroy her. Mark. The man who stole her project, and tried to bury her. Now he was suspended. Disgraced. With nothing left to lose. Ruth knocked. Mark laughed before he even turned around. "The whistleblower," he said. "Come to watch them bury me?" "You still don't understand how power works," he told her. "If I talk, I go down too. So no. We're done." Ruth didn't move. She let the silence sit. Then she slid a single page across the desk. John's statement to the board. In it, John named Mark as the sole architect of everything. Ruth reminded him what John's silence had cost. 4 lives. Daniel, the accountant, who found the first false number. Priya, the manager, who asked one question too many. A father who took the blame, to keep his sick child insured. And a fourth, erased so completely no one even knew the name. John didn't silence them with fear, Ruth said. He used shame. And you, Mark, were the one who delivered it. Every crime. Every payment. All of it, pinned on Mark alone. The man Mark protected for 10 years, had already chosen him as the corpse. Mark stopped laughing. You were never his partner, Mark. You were the part of the weapon he could replace. Mark stared at the page for a long time. Saying nothing. 10 years of loyalty. 10 years of doing the dirty work, for this. But the page in his hands was John's handwriting. His own name. His own grave. Helping her meant betraying the only man he'd ever served. You can go down as his villain, Ruth said. Or take him, with you. And the hammer and the target, finally stood on the same side. Mark agreed. But on his terms. Because Mark had a secret, even John didn't know. For 10 years, he hadn't just followed orders. He'd recorded them. Every instruction. Every threat. Every name John told him to bury. Insurance. For the day John finally turned on him. But there was a catch. The recordings would destroy Mark too. To bring down the hand, the hammer had to shatter itself. For 3 nights they worked in secret. Enemies turned partners. Mark knew where every body was buried. Ruth knew how to dig. They mapped 10 years of John's crimes. Date by date. But every record that damned John, damned Mark too. Ruth watched him sign his own confession, without flinching. For the first time, she saw the man beneath the villain. You'd go to prison too, Ruth said quietly. Mark almost smiled. At least I'd choose how I fall. Ruth took the drive to Claire. The only power above John. Claire listened to one recording. Then she went pale. Because in it, John spoke a name Claire knew. The 4th victim. The one no one could name. Claire whispered it. Elena. Elena had been her father's most trusted advisor. 20 years ago. And John erased her so completely, the world forgot she existed. 20 years ago. Elena ran the audit John feared most. She found the first hidden account. The blueprint for everything after. She went to the founder. John made sure she never arrived. Discredited. Disappeared. A career and a name wiped clean. The founder died believing his most loyal advisor had betrayed him. Claire grew up hearing Elena was a traitor. She never believed it. But John could feel the ground shifting beneath him. He had survived every storm by striking first. He struck now. He told the board a story. Ruth and Mark were staging a coup. And the board, who feared him, began to believe him. But that night, John could not sleep. Something felt wrong. 30 years of instinct whispered the same word. Watched. He had buried too many people to believe he was safe. The recordings? John called them the forgery of a desperate fired man. In one afternoon, the chairman turned the room back to his side. To beat John, they couldn't just expose him. They had to make him expose himself. Ruth needed eyes inside John's office. She called Jane. Once blackmailed into helping John, Jane now wanted him gone. She placed the cameras herself. Every angle of his private office. If John moved against the ghost, they would see every second. So Ruth set a trap. And baited it with the one thing John feared. She let a rumor reach him. Elena was alive. And ready to talk. But John didn't know that. And a guilty man cannot leave a witness breathing. That night, John did exactly what Ruth knew he would. He went to destroy the last evidence. And to silence a ghost. He pulled a sealed file. 20 years of buried secrets. He opened it and almost smiled. He thought he was still in control. His hands moved fast. Burn the file, erase the trail, vanish the past. He had done this before. He was good at making people disappear. On top lay a photograph. A younger Elena, looking straight at the camera. For a moment, the office was perfectly silent. Then a voice came from behind him. You buried my name. Not my memory. John froze. The voice was older now. But he knew it. Impossible, he whispered. He had made sure. 20 years ago. He didn't want to turn around. Because turning made it real. The footsteps came closer. Slow. Certain. Unafraid. John turned. And the ghost he'd erased was standing in the doorway. You took everything, Elena said. My work. My name. My life. But you forgot one thing. Erased people remember every detail. John reached for a lie. For the first time, none came. Elena. Alive. She had never died. She had simply waited. 20 years. And Claire had finally found her. And for the first time in 20 years, he had nothing left to say. Claire called an emergency board session. This time, John could not stop it. Elena spoke first. 20 years of silence, finally broken. Then Mark's recordings played. John's own voice, ordering it all. The room went cold. They had followed this voice for years. Now they heard it order a man's life destroyed. Calmly. Casually. Then the footage. John, stealing the evidence he swore never existed. 3 witnesses. 1 voice. 1 night of his own making. The chairman who controlled everything, controlled nothing at last. He was removed that hour. Stripped of every title. Every shield. John rose, still trying to command the room. This is a coup, he said. No one obeyed. For the first time, his voice meant nothing. Claire stood. By unanimous vote, you are stripped of all authority. Effective immediately. Security will escort you out. John looked for an ally. A single face that still feared him. There were none. But justice has a price. And Mark paid his in full. His own recordings convicted him too. He had always known they would. As they led him away, Ruth watched the man she'd hated walk past. And she felt no triumph. Only the weight of who she'd used to win. She had needed her enemy. Become a little like him, to beat him. She had lied. Manipulated. Set a trap with a human life as bait. The line between justice and John had grown dangerously thin. Winning had shown her exactly how a good person becomes a John. Mark stopped beside her. One last thing to say. I spent 10 years helping him bury people, he said. You spent 1 week, digging them all back up. No, Ruth said. I spent 1 week, refusing to be buried with them. The hammer that turned on its master, broke itself doing it. And only one of them, walked away clean. The company Elena helped build, was finally hers to reclaim. The founder's name was cleared. The truth restored to the record. Jane kept her job, and her silence finally meant something. For buried names spoken aloud again. The shame given back to its owner. Claire offered her John's old chair. The seat of every shadow. For a second, Ruth saw how easy it would be to rule from the dark. Then she turned the chair to face the window. And opened the blinds. No more shadows. No more buried names. No more pretending. She ended standing, in the room where they tried to erase her. The most dangerous thing Ruth ever did, was refuse to stop looking. And now, at last, she never has to look away again. The last slide. The truth always comes back,